Welcome and thank you for taking time to learn more about the Interstate 94 and Sunset Drive Interchange project. The project is being undertaken by the North Dakota Department of Transportation in cooperation with the Federal Highway Administration and the City of Mandan. The consultant team from Mead & Hunt is assisting the North Dakota Department of Transportation with this project and will be presenting information about this project. My name is Chris Rossmiller and I am serving as the consultant project manager for Mead & Hunt. With me is Jason Owens, our lead roadway engineer for this project. Our agenda for this presentation includes an overview of the project. This includes the project background, an overview of the project limits, the current project schedule, and a discussion on the project funding. This will be followed by information about the existing interchange that is in service today, and some of the key issues leading to the need for this reconstruction project. Jason will then provide an overview of the alternatives for the interchange and the options for the intersection at Old Red Trail. This will be followed by a discussion of the work zone traffic control, which will highlight the impacts anticipated during construction. We will then conclude the presentation with discussion on next steps for the project and some information on how you can provide feedback and ask questions about the project. Now, beginning with the project overview. Studies for this project began in 2013. When the Bismarck-Mandan Metropolitan Planning Organization completed a study of the area north of Interstate 94 in Mandan. The study found that a significant portion of new growth in Mandan would occur north of the Sunset Drive Interchange. The new growth would generate a large volume of new traffic that would funnel through the existing interchange. The report identified that modifications to the interchange would be needed within the next 5 to 15 years from when the study was completed to accommodate this new growth of traffic. Now fast forward to the present. There has been quite a bit of growth along Sunset Drive and Old Red Trail, including a number of businesses. These include the Comfort Inn, the Medical Plaza, and the Walmart, just to name a few. Recently, the new Mandan High School has opened, creating more traffic in the area. There has also been several other developments reviewed by the city, both commercial and residential in nature, that will have an impact on the amount of traffic traveling through the interchange and how current users travel through the interchange day to day to reach these new destinations. It is this increase the traffic that contributes into the need for the project as identified in the original study. The project limits for the project include Interstate 94, about 1 mile east and west of Sunset Drive. This starts at the scenic overlook along eastbound 94 located west of Sunset Drive and continues easterly to Highway 1806, the Collins Avenue overpass east of Sunset Drive. Along Sunset Drive itself, the project limits begin at 18th Street south of the interchange and continue north to 27th Street intersection near the middle school. The project will include the intersections of Boundary Street and Old Red Trail. Taking a look at the project schedule, we met a little over a year ago to present alternatives for the interchange. Following that meeting, the team prepared the findings of the feasibility study and held a management presentation with the North Dakota Department of Transportation and the City of Mandan in the May of 2023. After the meeting, an interchange type was selected with the input from the DOT and the city, and the two intersection options at Old Red Trail were both advanced for further evaluation. We are here with our second public input meeting to get more input from the public on those intersection alternatives. After the comment period for the meeting closes, we will be reviewing the public input, making refinements to those intersection alternatives, and completing the environmental document with the selection of the intersection type at Old Red Trail. The design team will then complete preliminary engineering and move into final engineering, which will run through 2025. Utility relocations may begin ahead of construction, and construction of the interchange could begin in 2027 at the earliest. The project funding will be split for this project. For construction that falls within state and federal right-of-way, which encompasses the interstate and interchange, the project cost will be split as 90% federal and 10% state. This covers the construction cost on Interstate 94, including the bridges over Sunset Drive, the ramps connecting Sunset Drive to the interstate, and the ramp intersections themselves. This also covers the portion of Sunset Drive within the interchange. For the remaining areas within local right-of-way, including Sunset Drive north of Old Red Trail east and west of Sunset Drive, and the intersections at Old Red Trail and Boundary Street Northwest, the project cost will be split approximately 80% federal and 20% to the City of Mandan. Now covering the existing conditions of the facility and some of the key issues. Interstate 94 and the Sunset Drive Interchange were originally constructed in the mid-1960s, about 60 years ago. From the image on top, you can see that the footprint was quite a bit different than what's out there today. The last major reconstruction project for the interchange, to reconfigure Old Red Trail to the intersection that's out there today, was completed in the 1980s. There have been several other projects out there to increase the capacity as the area continued to develop, including widenings of the Old Red Trail intersection, a widening of the westbound 94 off-ramp, and the addition and upgrades to traffic signal systems at Old Red Trail and the interchange ramps to keep up with the traffic growth. There have also been a number of projects to maintain and preserve the 60-year-old roadway pavement and bridge infrastructure. Also, as the area grew, there were a number of multimodal options added to the interchange to serve the residents of Mandan. BizMan Transit provides bus service via the Purple Route, which enters the project area along Old Red Trail, connecting with Sunset Drive, running through the interchange, and continuing south to downtown Mandan. There is a trail network on the east side of Sunset Drive and along the south side of Old Red Trail, which is operated by the City of Mandan Parks and Recreation Department. The trail serves bicyclists and pedestrians through the interchange between Old Red Trail and Boundary Street. Also, working in conjunction with this trail, the City of Mandan has several sidewalk facilities north and south of the interchange to provide pedestrians a connection between the residential areas south of the interchange to the businesses north of the interchange. Taking a little closer look at a few of the key issues of the existing interchange, I'd like to start with traffic operations. First, I need to take a quick pause to explain level of service. Level of service is a letter designation that corresponds to a certain range of roadway operating conditions. The level of service range is from A to F, and like any grading system, an A indicates the best or free flow operating conditions, while an F, on the other end, indicates the worst or congested and failing operating conditions. The North Dakota Department of Transportation guidance is to meet or exceed an overall level of service D under a 20-year projected automobile traffic. Under the existing conditions in our study area, the signalized intersections currently are operating at an overall level of service C or better during the AM and PM peak hours, with several approaches operating at a level of service D. The eastbound approach to the two-way stop-controlled intersection at Boundary Street operated at a level service F during the peak hour. Another key issue considers the safety of the existing roadway. Crash data was collected for the study area for the period from 2017 to 2022. During that time, there were 95 reported crashes along Sunset Drive between Boundary Street and Old Red Trail, with the highest density of the crashes occurring at the Sunset Drive Old Red Trail intersection. This pattern is consistent with a separate 2020 study of 65 intersections in the Bismarck-Mandan area that found that the Old Red Trail and Sunset Drive intersection to be one of the highest crash locations in the area. The majority of the crashes were rear-end type collisions, which can be associated with the signal control and increasing congestion in the area. Another significant issue, as the pictures show, is the low clearance of the bridges carrying I-94 over Sunset Drive. There have been several crashes involving trucks striking the I-94 bridge. The low clearance is significant since it requires trucks to travel longer on the local network. For example, trucks traveling east on Old Red Trail need to continue along that route to Mandan Avenue, past the new high school and the sport complexes, rather than having a direct route to eastbound 94 at the Sunset Drive interchange. Now I'd like to turn the presentation over to Jason to cover the alternatives for the project.
The base alternative that we start with on any project is the no-build option. This option would keep the interchange in the current configuration. While this would have the lowest initial costs and would initially be less impactful environmentally, the 60-year-old pavement and bridges Chris mentioned would continue to deteriorate with the increasing traffic as the area continues to grow. As traffic increases, operations will continue to fail, resulting in increases in delay and longer queues, impacting the safety of the corridor by increasing the potential for crashes. The bridge's vertical clearance beneath Interstate 94 will continue to be substandard and limit mobility of trucks along the corridor. Chris shared the current traffic level services with you earlier. As we look to the future years of 2030, the opening year, and 2045 design year. And looking at the no-build option in 2030, the signalized intersections continue operating at an overall level of service C or better in the AM and PM peak hours, with several approaches operating at a level of service D. However, the eastbound and westbound approach at the two-way stop-controlled intersection at Boundary Street operates at a level of service F. In 2045, operations begin to deteriorate. Multiple intersections operate at a level of service E or F during the peak hours, with several failing, impacting Sunset Drive and the connecting roadways. These results show the need to accommodate future growth in the corridor, necessitating continued improvements to the interchange and adjacent intersections. Chris mentioned that alternatives were developed in 2023. These alternatives that were reviewed but not selected included a diverging diamond interchange, a partial cloverleaf interchange, and a diamond interchange with roundabouts at each intersection. The diverging diamond and partial cloverleaf alternative included looking at roundabouts and signalized intersection options at Old Red Trail and Boundary Street. The fourth option reviewed and selected to move forward as the preferred build alternative was a single point urban interchange, or SPUI for short. This interchange type combines all the ramp movements to a single intersection beneath the Interstate 94 bridges, controlled by one traffic signal. Now this slide notes option 1A. This is because there are two different options available at the intersection of Old Red Trail. This slide shows the signalized option. This slide shows option 1B, which includes a roundabout at the intersection of Old Red Trail. We will take a closer look at these intersection options in a moment, but do want to point out a few other features of the selected interchange alternative. We'll be raising Interstate 94 and lowering Sunset Drive to increase the vertical clearance at the bridges. The ramps connecting to Sunset Drive are moved closer to the interstate, increasing the spacing between the SPUI intersection and the intersections at Old Red Trail and Boundary Street. This will allow for more room for vehicles queuing at these intersections. It will also allow for more distance to change lanes between these intersections. Chris mentioned the existing trail on the east side of the interchange. We're proposing to relocate the 10-foot trail to the west side of the interchange, so the trail crosses the ramps carrying a lower traffic volume, reducing the interaction between the trail users and vehicles. We are also proposing to place a sidewalk on the east side of the interchange. For both option 1A and 1B, a signalized intersection will be constructed at Boundary Street. A roundabout option was evaluated here, but not selected. This layout will add left turn lanes at the intersection and update the sidewalks and trail crossings. Diving into the features of the two Old Rail Trail options, option 1A is the signalized option. It features additional lanes through the intersection. The two notable locations are the dual right turn lanes from eastbound Old Red Trail to southbound Sunset Drive, and two northbound lanes through the intersection. The two northbound lanes will be carried north to 27th Street, where the right lane will become a right turn only onto 27th Street at the middle school. In the northwest quadrant, the sidewalk will be connected to the intersection and crosswalks will be provided along all four approaches of the intersection. A retaining wall will be built in the northeast quadrant next to Alexis Health to support the additional lane and trail. Looking at alternative 1 with option 1A, the total right-of-way impact is 0.106 acres of permanent right-of-way and 0.088 acres of additional temporary impact to construct the interchange. The total costs to construct the interchange with option 1A is $46.8 million. Option 1B is the roundabout option. This is a dual-lane roundabout to maintain the heavy turning movement from northbound Sunset Drive to westbound Old Red Trail. Similar to option 1A, the sidewalk in the northwest quadrant will be connected to the intersection and crosswalks will be provided along all four approaches of the intersection. Retaining wall is still required in the northeast quadrant next to Alexis Health to support the additional lane and trail. Looking at alternative 1 with option 1B, the total right-of-way impact is 0.042 acres of permanent right-of-way and 0.150 acres of additional temporary impact to construct the interchange. The total cost to construct the interchange with option 1B is $47.1 million. approximately $300,000 more than option 1A in initial construction costs.
Now to cover the traffic control during construction and the anticipated impacts to traffic and pedestrians during construction. We are anticipating multiple years of construction to replace the interchange. We are maintaining traffic through the work zone, including pedestrian traffic when possible. The following slides will highlight the major areas of work for each construction season and the impacts users can expect during construction. The construction will begin with constructing crossovers in the median of Interstate 94 to carry 94 traffic during construction. There would also be pavement widenings required along Old Red Trail and Sunset Drive to carry traffic during later phases of construction, and a temporary bypass will be constructed to connect Old Red Trail to the existing I-94 westbound on-ramp to allow traffic to be diverted around the existing Old Red Trail intersection. During this work, traffic is anticipated to remain in the current traffic pattern, though there may be some periods of lane shifts and closures where construction is adjacent to travel lanes. Sidewalks and trails are anticipated to remain open. However, there may be periods with short delays where flaggers and escorts may be used to guide pedestrians safely through areas where construction activities are directly adjacent to sidewalks. Following this work, the project would shut down for winter months, with activities resuming in the following spring. Beginning in spring, traffic on Interstate 94 will be shifted to the westbound roadway, one lane in each direction, allowing the contractor to remove and replace the eastbound bridge and roadway. There will be some nighttime closures required on Sunset Drive for both vehicular and pedestrian traffic to facilitate the removal of the existing bridge. Detours will be expected during those periods. The other area of focus will be the Old Red Trail intersection. The goal is to complete the entire intersection by the fall. To accomplish this, a reroute of the Old Red Trail eastbound traffic west on Sunset Drive is necessary. We will also look to relocate the westbound access to 94 onto Old Red Trail. Even with the rerouted traffic, multiple shifts and phases will be required to complete the intersection. This applies to both signalized and roundabout options discussed earlier, regardless of which option is selected. Pedestrians will be maintained at the intersection. However, with multiple phases, there may be shifts required in crosswalk locations to complete construction activities. There will also be areas of the new interchange outside of the existing roadways the contractor may begin work on during this construction year, mainly the new southbound portion of Sunset Drive. These areas will be away from traffic and should not impact vehicle or pedestrian traffic. Before winter, the eastbound roadway will be open and the Old Red Trail intersection will be completed with a temporary transition connecting to the existing Sunset Drive roadway. The next construction year will begin similar to the previous year. Traffic on Interstate 94 will be shifted to the completed eastbound roadway, one lane in each direction, allowing the contractor to now remove and replace the westbound bridge and roadway. Again, there will be nighttime closures required on Sunset Drive for both vehicular and pedestrian traffic to facilitate the removal of the existing bridge. The same detours will be expected during those periods. Once both the existing bridges are out of the way, the contractor will work to complete the southbound portion of the Sunset Drive roadway. The contractor will complete the roadway and the new trail along southbound roadway. During this time, traffic will remain on the existing roadway and trail. Traffic will then be shifted off existing Sunset Drive roadway to the new southbound portion of the roadway. Likewise, pedestrians will be rerouted onto the new trail along the southbound roadway, freeing up the existing Sunset corridor to be removed. Before winter, we anticipate the westbound 94 roadway to be reopened to traffic and Sunset Drive traffic utilizing this new portion of the roadway. The final year will focus on completing the Sunset Drive northbound roadway and the remainder of the interstate ramps shown in orange. Connections to the existing ramps will be the last work completed and will be made utilizing widenings to carry traffic onto Interstate 94. The closure of the ramps is not anticipated. Drivers should anticipate lane closures on Interstate 94 during the season to complete these ramp connections and to also remove the temporary crossovers constructed in previous phases. Traffic on Sunset Drive will continue to use the southbound roadway during this time. Ramp traffic will then be shifted to the new intersection under the bridge in conjunction with the completion of the ramp connections. The contractor will then begin the removal of the existing ramps and finish up remaining work to complete the roadway prior to winter. Now looking at the next steps for the project, the comment period for this meeting will remain open until November 22nd. We would like your input and views on the information presented and any questions that you have about it. Please let us know what you liked or did not like about the Old Red Trail options presented here, and let us know which one you preferred. From there, the team will be reviewing the impact from the meeting and making refinements to the project design. We will be working with the Department of Transportation to rank the options and select the preferred alternative for Old Red Trail when considering the traffic operations, the safety, the environmental impacts, the construction cost, and of course the public input received on these alternatives. Following the selection of the final alternative, we will finalize the environmental document and continue through the design process. We would like to thank you for taking time to learn more about the Sunset Drive Interchange Exit 152 project. Your feedback is very important to us. It is an opportunity for you to communicate with project design staff and relate information and ideas that may be beneficial to the designers as they work through the design process to improve this interchange. We encourage you to review the exhibits and handout materials and let us know your thoughts on this information provided today. If you have any questions or comments about the project, please reach out to us in writing or email using the contact information listed here. All comments must be emailed and postmarked by November 22nd. Also, if you haven't done so already, please return to the project website and fill out the sign-in sheet and the North Dakota DOT Title VI Public Participation Survey, as this helps the North Dakota DOT to receive federal funding. Thank you again for your interest in this project.